BYOB.
Yeah, it's the movement. Hey, you can be your own bank and take your time while you're learning it. Where you about to be is not where you reside currently. We gon' teach you how to compound it while you're earning it. It's that new type of...
Have you ever allowed someone to talk you out of something only to discover it would have benefited you greatly? Sometimes people want to shrink your dreams down to their size because they're uncomfortable with you being in a space they're too afraid to occupy. Not everyone can handle the dreams you have for your life. But if you dare to dream, listen closely. Do you want to help young people get through college? Veterans live a better life? Families lower their electric bills? Churches and nonprofits get the help they truly need and deserve? Well, if you feel this way, welcome to Kingdom Currency, a digital token created to meet all of these needs. When you purchase Kingdom Currency, you're not only making your own dreams come true, but you're supporting things you care about. So if you dare to dream, for more information, go to kingdomcurrency.exchange, kingdomcurrency.exchange.
What you're seeing is Kingdom Currency, all right? And so ultimately what we are actually a token with a purpose. And this is actually the very first socially conscious token. And that's definitely something that we can get excited about, right? Now, when you look at where we are, this is actually powered by the Be Your Own Bank movement. Now, understand Be Your Own Bank. BYOB is definitely rooted in the concept and philosophy of economic empowerment. And so what that ultimately means is that this movement is actually focused, right? This movement, we have ultimately our entire focus has been on removing financial blinders, because what we do know and what we do understand is that empowered people empower people, right? That is definitely what we understand. And so that's ultimately where this movement is based out of. Now, where we are rooted is the civil rights movement has always been the foundation of freedom. You know, the civil rights movement has been that foundation of equality. And so when we're talking about equality, we're talking about equality from the perspective that this is economic empowerment, you know, and this is ultimately where Be Your Own Bank movement is rooted from. This is where we grew from. This is where we got together. Mr. Rogers and myself got together over 4 years ago to ensure that people had freedom, that financial blinders were removed. And this is ultimately why you're here this evening, because this is where Kingdom Currency evolved from. And it's actually rooted, it evolved from the Be Your Own Bank movement. And that's where the birth of this movement started. So if you go back to understand why this is important to us, why do we have a system where we have 40 million people, and I'm sure at this time, it's even more than that. And you understand that we are raising those questions. And then many people often ask about equality. Many people often ask about ensuring that these financial blinders are ultimately removed. Many people are looking for a way out. And so what we have is the solution. And if you really think about the impact that was made by Dr. King and individuals who fought for the same rights and fought for the same thing, when you really think about what transpired, his message was always about freedom. His message was always about equal rights. But when it began to include the economics, that is when he was actually assassinated. And that is why this movement is so important to us and what we have begun and where we are birthed from. So understanding that, right? Understanding our accomplishments, understanding what we've done, because this has always been in our heartbeat. And in our heartbeat has always been about the economic bridging that gap. It's always been about ensuring that kingdom first. So we are built on the movement. We are built on the foundation of the word of God. And what we want to do is actually remove those financial blinders. And because that is where our heartbeat has always been, and that is where we've always stemmed from, we have now, within this time frame, we are now a global movement. We have over 6,000 movement members that's represented in different countries around the world. And it began with that education platform. We've always believed in enroll, learn, profit, where you are going to learn a skill set that's actually going to shift your legacy and change the dynamics for you for life. And why is this important? Well, It's really, really important because we live in an economy and we live in a system right now where we're taught to do the same thing consistently over and over again. We're taught to go to work. We're taught to, let me back up. We're taught to go to school, right? We're taught to get good grades. Then we're taught to go to college and then get you one of those quote unquote good jobs. But what does that ultimately equate to? That equates to the reality that it's too many individuals and it's many people around the world that do not have the freedom that they desire. Because ultimately 60% of individuals actually work for someone else. And you see, wealth does not lie there. 35% of people work for themselves, 4% are business owners, and 1% have an investor mindset. Now let's talk about why this shift is important today. Why is this critical? Why is this ultimately important that we make a change and we shift our mindsets? Because when I started working, minimum wage was $3.85. And when you look at right now, people are fighting for $15 an hour. And I really want you to break that down for just a moment. $15 an hour. $15 an hour is still only 25 cents a minute. And I know that you're worth more than that. I know that shift in that legacy for you and your family is worth more than that. So at 25 cents a minute, and that's what people are ultimately fighting for, understand that you can control that narrative, that you can control the outcome and the dynamics within your life. So what does that mean? When we look at it, we often say that there is something, there is an economic divide. There is some economics that's just not within our favor. We'll see that's 95% are actually fighting for 5% of the wealth. And this is why that's the narrative. And this is ultimately why that's the story. And then 5% actually, what are they doing? They are controlling 95% of the wealth. Those statistics will not change until we do, because the definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing and expect a different result. So no matter what the economy is doing, no matter what is happening, we really still do not have an economic problem. No matter where we are, where they talk about inflation or what's transpiring in the world today, we do not have an economic issue. We have an issue of understanding and education. And this is why this conversation here this evening and what this movement has always been about is ensuring that that shift happens. Now, this is us. This is where the movement started. Myself and our visionary, our founder, myself, the co-founder. But I share this with you, not to impress you, but to impress upon you that our heartbeat, we come with credentials, we come with a background, but our heartbeat is for people. Our heartbeat is to ensure that those financial blinders are removed. Because what often happens is people who have information and people who have access to information are not willing to pay it for it or not willing to share it. Well, that's not the case. We know what it's like. We know the background, the life, the story that we live, where we ultimately came from. And ladies and gentlemen, I tell you right now that that shift is here, that change is here, because we want to make sure that we are in a position to pass it forward, and we're in a position to really kind of shift and change that narrative. And because of that, you have individuals that have also caught the vision. You have individuals that have also dedicated themselves. And what you see through this movement is that duplication process. So when we talk about be your own bank, it's very important that you understand the foundation and the impact that this movement has already had. Because here we have 12 certified BYOB cash out educators. We have individuals who have dedicated their time because of success. And they come from all different walks of life where they've actually walked through success. They've accomplished significant things throughout their careers. But guess what? They're still here to tell their story. They're still here to ensure that those financial blinders are removed for everyone. Now, also, what this movement has also done is it's having global impact, as I've already mentioned. So here we are. You have such as our BYOB publishing, where we have actually books that are being published. Then we have our global radio broadcast that is housed in Jacksonville, Florida, but it's actually being streamed globally. And it's internet access as well as access where it's actually being streamed globally, you know, throughout the world. And then also we have our millennials owning banks who are just bridging that economic divide and bridging that economic gap to ensure that this information is discussed and that we actually are having these conversations. And then, of course, we have our international podcast. But then we also have our women's empowerment. And now the women's empowerment is so very important because when you really think about it, women make so many decisions. Women make have so many decisions and have so much influence, but yet the economics often play a huge part in what they do and do not do. So this conversation is very critical. This conversation is very important. We have our BYOB Worldwide University that's coming soon. We have our app. Go get it from the Play Store or from your iPhone, from the Apple Store. And of course, we have our branded prepaid MasterCard and our theme song. So this is the impact that we've had. This is the impact that the Be Your Own Bank movement has had. So we're not here with a new token. We're not here with something where we just had an idea. This is the evolution. This is that disruptive technology. This is the evolve. We're evolving with our current times. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's talk about this evolution of currency. You see, technology has always been a disruptor. Technology has always created a shift. And so we already talked about and understand that the definition of insanity is when you continue to do the same thing over and over again, and you don't adapt or you don't walk with that change. Well, these are just examples of change that has transpired. This is examples of always finding a more efficient way to do things and also reach more people and give that freedom. Because we know when you look at this, that there are more options with Netflix, more options with Airbnb, more options with Uber, even more options with the car, correct? But now let's talk about banking. Let's talk about our fiat traditional currency that's evolving into this crypto space. And so why is this important? Let's talk about crypto, okay? Let's talk about the impact in our community, because this is where wealth and that gap is being bridged. This is where that shift is ultimately happening. And I just want you to take a look at this, because in our community, 3.8% of the $116 trillion of US wealth is owned by our community, only 3.8%. But yet the spending power in our community is at 1.4 trillion. And I want you to think about that for just a moment. Ultimately, the US dollar, it only touches our hands one time. It does not circulate back through our community. And that's ultimately what that is saying. And so we've been screaming, we've been wanting, we've been searching for a way to bridge that gap. We've been searching for a way to ensure that that definitely shifts and that change happens. And so when you look at the opportunity that is there within our community, when you look at the opportunity that is there, when you see that 44% of cryptocurrency traders are actually investors of color compared to 35% of stock. So I want you to understand the significance behind this, the significance behind you having the skill set, you having the access to some information that's really going to change. And then also, when you look at what crypto has done, I want you to understand that it's tripled within the last year. And even over the next 5 years, it's going to be a $40 trillion market. Now, I'm going to go ahead and have that conversation with you, because I do understand that right now, today, as we speak, actually, there is some economic things that are actually taking place. You're looking at the prices that are fluctuating in the crypto space, but I also want you to look at the prices that are fluctuating in your fiat currency space. So the difference is, and where the wealth rise and where the opportunity is there is absolutely nothing wrong with crypto, but I'm gonna just tell you the reality is that the market is the market. The market is actually fluctuating. The market is actually having a shift in it right now. And so I want you to just really understand what I'm saying, because we see the price of crypto adjust based on the market. But what you do not see, or what you do see, is the fact that the dollar does not go as far. You see, the dollar is still the dollar, and that's where most of us stop and compare it to. But the reality is I'm going to ask the question is, how far is your dollar going? So your dollar is not going as far. but yet prices are rising and so is gas. But yet your pay has not increased with that fluctuation. Your pay is still the same, that same $15 an hour that we were just speaking about. So why is our wealth on the rise with crypto, even with the fluctuating prices that you see right now? Well, the reality is that there's opportunity. There's opportunity for you. There's opportunity for you to have ownership. And as you can see that our community is definitely taking advantage of this, and you want to position yourself to be in that exact same position. And these statistics are actually from Forbes and NASDAQ. So I want you to understand exactly what that means. And so now what does that mean for you? What does that mean for the Be Your Own Bank movement? What does that mean for what we are? Well, it's very simple. You right now have the actual opportunity to join that Kingdom Currency global movement. You have the opportunity to participate in what is actually available to us right now. And that is Kingdom Currency. So yes, I am saying it is that new type of money. So go check that song out, right? That theme song. And so, but what does that mean? What is the opportunity? Well, I want you to take a look at our core team, the individuals that are actually assisting us and with this launch, the individuals who have made a commitment, have actually put a passion behind ensuring that lives are changed globally around the world through the launch of this digital token, through the launch of Kingdom Currency. And when we say it's a token with a purpose, because the reality is not why crypto, it's why Kingdom Currency. Why BYOB? Well, as you can see, we are the first African-American organization that actually has 100%, but actually has a token and an exchange. We also are the first that are going to give back to our community. Now, what do I mean by that? Because most people do have a philanthropy heartbeat. Most people do want to give back. Most people do want to have impact within the community. But the reality is for us, this is actually built in from the very beginning. And actually 60% of our profits are going to the pillars of these 4 different pillars to have impact in our community. Because what we see that's going to strengthen our communities is in our colleges and universities. And so what we're doing is giving back to HBCUs. We're also giving back to ministries in our community, those nonprofits, and also veterans. What we do know is veterans have a hard time transitioning, which is why we ultimately have our boots to banks. But then at the same time, we're going to be able to facilitate giving back. And then at affordable green housing. So we're covering every gamut and every aspect that's important within our community to facilitate strength and facilitate growth. So it's not why crypto, but why BYOB? Because it has a purpose. And you actually are in a position right now to give back to your community while earning with your token as it rises in value. And now, what does that mean for you? That means that you should get back with the person that invited you to this call. You should get back because they're going to help facilitate you being able to participate. I'm going to walk you through how to set your account up. I'm going to walk you through exactly what needs to happen, but there will be a link that they give you, or you could just simply visit kingdomcurrency.exchange. Now, right now, in the first stage through September, and so that means June and July, August, you now have the opportunity to do a 400 minimum purchase. That's actually exciting. It's exciting that you have the opportunity that's normally not afforded to us. It's normally not available to us. And I'm going to tell you now, don't wait, because this is literally through this stage as the tokens are available, because it is a limited supply in each one of these phases before it's fully launched into the marketplace on different exchanges in different places. So right now, you're in a position and in an opportunity to take advantage in the very beginning during the conception. So it's just a great space to be in. All right, so what you're looking at is the exchange. This is the actual exchange, okay? And this is that kingdomcurrency.exchange. And so when you want to set up your account, obviously you can kind of scroll down to get started. But what I'm going to do is just kind of show you, if you click this login button right here, there is a register now. And you want to go ahead and get registered, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and log in so I can show you exactly what needs to take place. But when you register, please make sure that you actually confirm that email you definitely want to make sure that you confirm that email, and that's when you'll actually be able to log in. And please check your spam. I will say that. So now when you log in, what I want you to do now, I'm going to show you. If you're on your phone, it's going to look this exact same way. So on your computer, your desktop, your tablet, you will see the information spread across the top. Now, if you are on your phone, if I drop this down, that's what it's going to look like, okay? And then you'll have to click the little box that's right there. But what we're looking for does not change, all right? What we're looking for does not change. So what I'm going to do is spread this back out. Whether you have to click that little box or not, you're looking for this drop down by your name. That's going to tell you when is the last time you logged in, exactly what you're looking for. So you want to come complete your profile. Now, with your profile, okay, everything needs to be completed. I need you to fill everything out. And I also want you all to understand that this is a profile picture. This is not your KYC. You see, it specifically says profile picture. So that is not your KYC. You're going to go to your KYC. When you go to your KYC, you're going to put a copy of your driver's license. You're going to put a copy of the back of your driver's license or your ID. We're going to select your driver's license, your passport. You're going to select your ID. So you're going to select and you're going to enter that information. And then you're going to take a selfie, not a picture like this one. You're going to hold that ID and you're going to take a selfie, right? And you're going to upload that picture. Now, when you do that, you have now completed your KYC and your profile. So it will be confirmed. And once it's actually confirmed, you can actually deposit tokens to purchase BYOB. So I have two options. I can deposit cryptocurrency or I can deposit fiat currency, which is fiat is the US dollar. So I can deposit crypto or I can deposit fiat. So with doing so, if you want to deposit fiat, because we want to make this as seamless as possible, you're going to come here to purchase by kingdomcurrency.com. And what we did is just give you a site to where it just makes it as easy as possible with an explanation video that's going to walk you through exactly how to make those purchases, what you need to do to make that purchase, and how, you know, exactly whether you're doing ACH, you're doing a wire transfer, or you're going to purchase with a credit card. And so ultimately, that's where you'll find those instructions that actually are going to walk you through exactly how to do so. Now, once that is completed, your deposit is confirmed. You still have to actually purchase the tokens. So when you purchase the tokens, okay, you purchase the tokens, you'll buy those tokens. So you will have so much in your US dollar wallet. So let's select US dollar. If I wanted to buy $400 worth, you know, my 410 would go here. And of course, you have the gas fee, gas transactions. That is nothing more than a credit card processing transaction. You'd actually make that purchase. And then, of course, you would actually, like I say, you would make that purchase that you're looking for, the $400 worth of tokens. You pay the $405 and your tokens will appear in your wallet. And that's it. It's just that simple. And so hopefully tonight gave you the clarity that's needed in order for you to facilitate purchasing tokens, understand why you want to take advantage of that this evening. You need more information. You need some understanding. You can contact us at 833-777-BYOB or just simply info at kingdomcurrency.exchange. But I do want to go ahead and actually turn this over to our visionary, our founder, Mr. Gerald D. Rogers, for any closing comments. Mr. Rogers.
Thank you so much, Ms. Dyer. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight, our brand ambassadors, our guests, we're just excited to know that you are actively participating with us. And as we are headed into the celebration of Juneteenth, for many of us, we get an opportunity to really broadcast our story in a tremendous and a dynamic way. And we just implore you to lock arms with us so that the information that you receive this evening, you know, let's take ownership of it. Let's remove the blinders from our family members. Let's remove the blinders from our places of fellowship and let them know that there's a unique opportunity that we all have collectively to take advantage of something that is going to be perpetual from an educational standpoint, from a learning commitment standpoint, and most importantly, a true legacy standpoint, because we collectively now have the ability and the opportunity to personally write our own personal financial narratives. And how does that begin? It begins with exposure and it ends with execution. So help us tell this story with us, a token with a purpose, Kingdom Currency. And you are very intricate in helping us share this story. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to turn it back over to Ms. Dyer. But once again, Kingdom Currency, it started with a dream, and that dream was ignited because of the things that I previously had heard and seen with the continuation of the dream giver himself, Dr. Martin Luther King. So let's be active, proactive, definitive, and let's operate in total execution. Ms. Dyer, back to you.
Awesome. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it's just your time. This is Kingdom Currency. This is a token with a purpose. This is for our community, and this is to empower individuals around the world. This has ultimately been our mission, our heartbeat, our purpose. And now we are just expanding that to reach the masses, because at the core, this is kingdom business. And we are definitely here to remove those financial blinders. Go ahead and get those accounts set up. KingdomCurrency.exchange is the website. You definitely want to visit that site, or info@KingdomCurrency.exchange if you have more questions.
Pull out your phone or your computer after you hear this song. Tap in to be your own bank, movement.com. Hey, you can be your own bank and take your time while you're learning it. Where you about to be is not where you reside currently. We gon' teach you how to compound it while you're earning it. It's that new type of money, now that's a different type of currency. Hey, you can be your own bank and take your time while you're learning it.
Be well, be worldwide. It's a movement.